Welcome to week 10. This is your professor, Noah, coming to you from my desktop. Here's a recent picture of me. I'm not going to show a live feed, but I'll put a picture up so you can at least know who's talking to you. Rather than posting my usual at the start of each week, I'm going to show you how I do that, and that's going to be your assignment for the week as well. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and open up my browser. And as you saw in last week's, I put up a slide. Well, you didn't know it was a slide necessarily. This is a PowerPoint slide that I use each week. And it allows me to very easily and methodically format and beautify the classroom. And to do that, I simply open up Jing, which you've all installed. You'll want to open up Jing yourselves. And you get your nice little sunburst in the corner. And then you're going to want to open PowerPoint. Typically what I do is this. I go into the PowerPoint presentation and I start with a blank slide. You do have other options though, and I want you to be creative. You can use a template, but again I'm choosing a blank slide because I like the white space around it. But then you need to fill it in, and this is where you get creative. So I'm going to insert some sort of clip art to make it interesting, and for that I'm going to use, it's a little bit different on a Mac if you have a Mac, if you don't have a MacBook, but I'm going to find something that's appropriate to a college classroom. So in this case, not a desk chair, not a key. We can just find something that is semi-interesting or visually appealing. You don't have to use clip art. You could also use one of the other sites that we found as a group earlier in the semester. But for our sake, I'm going to go with, let's just say, binoculars. And then to make it even more pretty, I can go in and add an effect to that. I like to do the reflection, as you've probably noticed, so we'll make a reflection of those. Gives it a 3D look. Then I'm going to insert a text box. This is where I usually type my announcements for the week. And it's a lot longer than that, but I have my text box here. But then as you notice in the classroom itself, I always have a header. So we're going to need to input a shape for that to give it a more finished look. So in that case, I'm going to insert shape, choose a rectangle, draw that in there. The default for most computers would be blue, but of course you can right click on it and you can actually play around with it. In this case I would format the shape. For the sake of fun, let's go to gradient and we'll make it, you double click on the colors you want, you click on the color you want. In this case we'll go orange. For the second color we'll go with a lighter variation of that same orange. Click OK, right click again, gonna edit text. I'm gonna go in and say week 10 overview and to-do list. I'm going to match it up to the size of what I usually use. I believe I use a 32. And if you notice, I have to kind of play around with these objects so they look nice on the page. You can resize, drag the corners and resize it. You can use a different graphic. I put my text here, and then I usually put the overview and to-do list down at the bottom, and I do that simply by inserting another shape. And in that case, the shape would be a rounded gray box like I always use, and I use bullet points inside. For the sake of time, I'm going to actually consider this finished. You know what a typical one looks like. Typically, it's much fuller. I've got the text box, the photo or photos, the welcome to the week, the to-do list, which again, I created all in PowerPoint just like this, and I open up the program here to do a screen capture. I'm going to capture an image. I'm going to save it, and I'll say Week10 for multimedia. And I save it in a location that's comfortable for me. In this case, it'll be the desktop. And then it's done. Let me show you my actual masters that I use for the class. I have a whole master file. So I can put these fancy headers like looking forward. That right there is an image. You can see how I can drag that. That's an image, and I just type underneath of it. And then I go in to your classroom and I add text to it. So here's my master file that I use for you guys. So I can keep things formatted and looking nice every week. I have a PowerPoint presentation, it's a long one, and I go in each week and I set up what I'm going to do. As you can see, here's past weeks and what they looked like. There's week 8 slide, which I simply captured it with Jing. And then, just to fancy it up a little bit, I do have headers. Like for your APA resources, I created a small slide. I then did a screen capture of just that small area, and then I added text underneath. So it made a nice, attractive header, but then in the website itself, I was able to add the hyperlinks. Just a few other for your review. Activity first steps. Remember when you did the image? I just hyper snapped that little header there. So what I'm going to do is type up your discussion board for you to participate and talk about your experience with this week. Also your assignment directions. And the goal this week is to repurpose PowerPoint and also to repurpose Microsoft Word. Very similar to PowerPoint. I prefer PowerPoint because I like the layout automatically. You can do the same type of thing in Word. You just open up a Word document. You can add text boxes. You can add images and other document elements that are not as easy to put on a website. For example, tables. And I want you to be creative with it, and it's going to be an extension of the website that you've already created. Have a great week. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email or call. Thanks.